Hey everyone, welcome to Cover, where we bring literature and discussion together online. My name is Sam.
Vanessa.
May.
Brian.
And if you notice, we have another member today. She is our guest star. Her name
and
is
our
May.
resident expert.
She is our resident expert on this new, genre that we're going to be going for. Just to give you guys a heads up, rather, this is your spoiler alert. We are going to be talking about the middle, the beginning, and the end of the book. So please don't be caught off guard. This is our way of warning you ahead of time. If you've already read it, please tune in and listen to what we have to say. If you have any comments, you are more than welcome to share them with us. Even if you still want to tune in, that's fine. It's a really decent book, so we'll kind of jump right in. We're going for the trilogy aspect. We wanted to come up with something that wasn't quite as popular as some of the other stuff out there. I know that everybody's already done like Lord of the Rings,
or Harry Potter,
the
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games is really well known. So, although we chose a popular trilogy, we wanted it to be not as popular as some of the other ones because I wasn't familiar with it. I don't know if some of the others were, but
the rest of us really hadn't read it except for May.
Yeah, so May is our resident expert on it. What got you into this originally, or how'd you come across this, or what?
I was at the library and I saw that it was a long series.
She's like, yes.
That's actually what sold me. So there was, I was actually gotten out of CSN and I went to the library right there and there was like 6 books on the shelf. So
what did you start with? Because this is actually, it's not just a trilogy. We chose this section of the entire series for the trilogy, and even though it's a prequel, it's not even the first set of books that
it's not. Created. So the Mortal Instruments came out first, and I think it's 6 books, and then this was a prequel to that series.
What did you read first?
The Mortal Instruments.
Okay. All right. Do they, I mean, I know we haven't read it, but do they tie in really well?
Very well. So it's a lot of the same families. You'll see that a lot of the families in this series are the same throughout all the books
very
that
cool.
she has released.
There's also like a show or a movie.
It's a TV show on Freeform.
Oh my gosh!
It's called Shadowhunters.
I think I watched
so it's not
an episode.
off
It
this
was
series.
yeah.
I always see the commercials because my girlfriend's obsessed with Freeform because of Harry Potter weekends.
Yeah, very true.
That's going on right now.
They have good holiday shows too.
I think I didn't put the 2 and 2 together until I started reading the books. I'm like, oh, Shadowhunters?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Is this based on that? But
Oh, it had to have been. I watched the trailer for it and I was like, I'll wait. Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. Like, this isn't something that I would typically pick up. And that's because it's based off of like a teenage girl. No offense. I know there's a lot of really strong female characters in that. That's not the problem that I have with. It's just that I've kind of surpassed that stage in my life. That sort of like lack of confidence, being really indecisive and not really knowing what to do. Like,
tells what you really think.
I know. Sorry. And it's not just with that. I think it's but
I would like to say it's YA.
That's what I like to say.
YA, young adult. I get it. But what made me kind of like, so this is kind of silly, but when I was envisioning what I was reading, when I was imagining it in my head, I had a hard time picturing like real people, and maybe it's just me. So what I did was I turned it into an anime in my head because it made more sense with like the drama and like the reactions and like the monologues and I was like, oh, this is like an anime. I can get used to this. Like this is what I'm used to, the magic and like the mystery and the reveals and all that stuff.
I thought it was like a teenage show on like CW or something. That's how I kind of imagined it.
Like an Arrow or
like those like teeny dramas,
like Supernatural, maybe.
Yeah.
See, and I would like to say that I love that kind of stuff. I love YA novels. This is something that we both have in common.
Very true.
This is why she's been telling me to read this series forever, because I love YA novels. I think that they are actually like, you get past all of the like adult, like, oh, we have to make this like super serious and we have to, the writing style has to be very like, upper crust or whatever. It's just, it tells a story. It's a linear story and it's a fun story. And I love that.
You have to like go into it thinking that though, because otherwise you're just going to hate it.
Yes.
And I mean, I thought it was hard to get into to begin with because it's the lack of detail in the beginning because there's so much going on and it's like, they don't really explain why or, more in depth, like what's going on. So at one point I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to go for the ride,
Yeah.
What happens.
But this book didn't come out first. So if you guys would have read the first series,
the 6 books,
very helpful. It makes way more sense. And then you're way more interested in the characters and what's going on and the plot twists and everything.
That makes
it
sense.
kind of reminded me a little bit of Twilight, not going to lie.
Oh, no. no.
No. Not
There's
in the
some
sense,
parallels.
Not in the
She
sense
loves
of,
Twilight, so we can't. She can't even.
I thought it was great. I mean,
not in the sense of like the same storyline, but I felt like the characters were kind of similar at points, and I think just like how Sam had pointed out, I think it was a little bit harder to relate because we're not in that stage in our lives,
Right.
But I could still appreciate like the dramatics of the whole storyline.
Yeah.
To where I was, like I said, I was envisioning a CW teen drama.
Yeah.
And there was points where I was just laughing that probably just around me was.
You know what I like about it that is nothing like Twilight is the main character. She's a strong female character. I mean, she's still finding herself. It's still, we're still in the first book of the series, so we don't know how her character is going to change.
Right, and we are going to do the other two.
Yes.
Just so you guys know, we're not just going to stop with this. We're actually going to finish the trilogy and talk about it. So,
but what I like is her strength of character. Her ability to kind of surmount the obstacles in her way and she's a reader and she's smart and she's witty and I like all of those things about her. And so for me, she's a very easy character to like.
And she's very determined.
Yes.
I mean, she goes out there to find her brother, and that's what she's going to do, and she doesn't care. And then once that happens, she finds her brother.
And she's also thrown in the middle of this magical world she knew nothing about.
Right.
And
well,
I love stories like that.
Whatever she sets her mind to, she kind of sticks with it, even if it's smart or not smart.
Yes.
Whether she
So
listens
she goes with
or
her heart.
doesn't
That's what
listen.
she's like about it,
Yes.
You know,
she follows her heart.
Yeah, in my experience, even with singing, it's like if you're gonna be wrong and strong.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Right,
what
very
she did.
true,
And
very
it applies to
true.
other realms, but
Yes.
that's kind of if you're just do it, just sing out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see those qualities in her, and maybe later on she's gonna really push those through. I just felt like she was so passive. I felt like everything was happening to her.
I will
to her.
say she does start off I did not like her at first.
Mm-hmm.
She was not. I really, really, really did not like her at first, and as she goes on, she does come into her own.
And this is Victorian age.
Yeah.
She is a girl in the Victorian age.
Very
so
true.
she already she's trying to be different from her peers. She reads a lot. She even says, she's kind of a frumpy dresser. She's kind of a serious person. Her curiosity gets away with her. She asks questions when she shouldn't.
Right.
There's the stirrings of a really strong female character. But yeah, she is a little passive.
I think there was more opportunity. I felt like a lot of the writing was formulaic. I felt like they made her an awkward sort of girl. She didn't really have any friends, and that's a lot of the audience that picks up this book are girls who feel that same way. I only read, and these are the only friends that I have in the world. It's not everyone.
May's about to fight.
May's not a quiet person.
Like I said, this is not the series you start off with. So
I'm at a disadvantage.
One of the reasons I told her about this series was because Cassandra Clare, so the author, she started off writing fan fiction.
Yes.
And so that's what we had talked about.
Yes. I've read Harry Potter fan fiction since I was in high school, which says a lot about me. Cassandra Clare actually started her writing career in fan fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She wrote a very popular series in way kind of at the beginning of fan fiction for Harry Potter even, about Draco, about this background dark character that the original series doesn't really give a lot of detail to, and she gave a lot of detail to. She wrote a whole trilogy about it. She wrote the online equivalent of books this thick, about this kind of background character, and really kind of drew attention to a character and added flesh and detail to a character that you don't get in the original series. And she did it pretty well, actually. And so it was something that we kind of had in common, that I had known about this author, but I had never read any of her actual published original works.
And that's why I like her, though, because she has so much backstory. So this series, there's probably close to 20 books.
Total. Is she going to keep going?
She's, I just picked up the new book she just released.
I'm really curious. Go ahead.
Sorry, there's the original 6.
So there's the Mortal Instruments. Yes. Then there is the Infernal Devices,
which is what we're reading.
Series.
Right, this one.
Even
and
though
then
it's a prequel.
There is the Dark Artifices, which picks up after the Mortal Instruments. And then she has little novellas where it's character specific. And that's what I like. When I read, I like backstory. Yes. I want to know what's going on with these people outside of like their life. I want to know the past, present, future.
I'll admit to that. I felt really involved in this. In her writing, it makes you feel like you're a part of what's going on. Yeah. And I didn't feel like she didn't miss a beat. No matter what was going on, no matter how like tumultuous, or I just felt like I was a part of it. Like I was right there, and that's what kind of kept me motivated. And I did enjoy that aspect of it. Is that she created this world, and it was a really vivid and powerful world. I now know, like, I think she did a good job with the characters. Like, I either like or dislike the characters. The names are easy to remember, and I feel like they fit, those characters really well.
The imagery, I think she does such a good job of like describing the scene,
the setting
the
too.
Setting, yes.
Victorian era England
as well.
Yeah, so yes, I did appreciate that. It did help me like get that picture in my mind.
What was interesting to me, what was interesting to me was like she had condensed a lot of that, and it still felt like a lot. It still felt like I knew a lot about it, but she condensed in the first 400 pages a lot that was taking place, like one after the other. But the very last scene took 100 pages to complete. From beginning to end, it took 100 pages to describe the revelation of the Magister, about Jem and Will going to go and fight the sisters, what was going on with the automatons. I think that's how you pronounce it.
That's right.
And like all that, it took all that time, and she really took her time with that. And that's the chunk that I really enjoyed, was that she kind of slowed it down.
Yeah.
And there
it was like we really got to relish the climax.
But she did. All the beginning was basically foundation, so that when she had that time to be able to do that, we weren't lost at all, and we felt connected to these individuals, or we weren't sure what was going to happen with it. Obviously, a lot of like cliffhangers at the end.
Yes,
there wasn't,
but it's the first in a series.
Exactly. So it was definitely meant to be further, this was definitely not one of those instances where like, oh, I'm going to write a book and see where it goes. Like, no, this was meant to be like either 2 or 3 books or even more. So I haven't read any of the other two, or either of the other two.
And I have. I plowed right through the first book into the second. I'm part of the way into the third. So I'm really trying not to reveal anything. And then, of course, she's read all
everything.
Of them. Multiple times.
Without like real spoilers, like what should we expect? Like, does it get better? Do we get more like detail?
I'm obviously a fan. So I like romance, but I like romance and a story. I don't like super gushy.
So this love triangle is just not going to go just stop. It's going to continue?
It keeps going throughout the thing. Now, okay, it does change.
Okay, and that's fine. So that's what we
it does change, and I definitely like the direction she took it. And like I said, a lot of the characters, you just get a lot of background, and the same families are in these books are going to be in all the other books. You will see there's Jessamine Lovelace, you have that's her name.
I don't want you to give me any secrets.
There's Will Herondale, there's Jen Carstairs. You have all these families, are in other books
They're going to expand on them.
Yeah. So, and then she keeps the Lightwoods are in it. So I just like how she carries on, and she gives you a lot of background.
I can appreciate that.
No, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the book, but I did like the fact how it kind of ended. I like the detail. It definitely made me want to read the second book a little more.
Just to see what happens.
Just to see what happens. But I can appreciate that. I think that's the biggest part that I can appreciate, was just the detail and how she definitely has a game plan with the first book, and how she, wanted to create this whole story in 3 different books, and I can appreciate all the details.
I was upset about Thomas and Agatha being killed off.
Thomas was a strong character.
Yes, I really.
Probably my favorite character.
And there was like the stirrings of like a background romance.
That's what I thought.
Some side,
with Sophie.
With Sophie. Agatha's like his mother's age.
It's like she already been through so much. I just wanted her to have something.
I know.
So. Hopefully, So, did you guys have like a favorite character? Or I know I said Thomas was, but he wasn't in it a whole lot. My favorite character is Jem. Like I like him. I think that he's a little bit.
I feel like I like Jem too. I feel like
Jem's sturdy would be
he's sturdy.
He's very reliable. He's very reliable. He's your rock.
Yes. And he's got like a sad backstory that he's like stronger for, and I just really like.
You named one of your animals after the main character.
I did. So my dog is named Tessa, and not because of this book. So like I said, she wasn't my favorite in this book. but she does get better. So I did name my dog Tessa.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite character, to be honest, I really like Charlotte. So Charlotte she's like motherly, but she's super young, and they touch on that.
Right, she's like 23 in the
right. And she's running the institute.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's very strong. She's very centered.
And she's running the institute during the Victorian era when women
there's a lot of prejudice against her.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's just a really good. I don't know. I like her character and I like her family. I will say that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna ask this, and you don't have to expand on it too much. But Gabriel, like the arch nemesis for Will, is he like a Draco Malfoy? Will he like be more of that adversary like later on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's all I want. I was like, they can't just.
They definitely expand on his character and his story and his
family
background.
plays into it too. The Lightwoods come into play.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
When I like too how just like I said, I like romance. So I like Will and Tessa and Jem and Charlotte and Henry. Yeah. So you'll see a lot more of character building as they go on, and it does get better. I mean, if you I don't know. I guess it's not for everybody. The book series isn't for everybody.
I appreciated it. I thought it was really, really clear. I like how they kind of like described everything and what constitutes as a fairy as opposed to like a demon or
a warlock.
And
the entire world
companion
is
books like the Shadowhunter Codex explains a lot lot And they go into detail on what certain things are.
It's kind of like Hogwarts of History and Harry Potter. Like the Codex is like like a book in the story that explains everything that like only some of the characters have read, and so they refer to it a lot. Like Tessa, of course. I mean, she's a reader. Yeah. So, even though she's an outsider, like she quickly becomes an insider because she picks up the book and she reads it.
Yeah. I will say Magnus Bane too in the series is
I like him. He's interesting.
He's very funny.
He's a warlock.
I really like him.
And warlocks are they have one demon parent and one human parent.
Yeah.
And so they have magical powers.
Yeah.
That's what they are,
well,
right?
I really liked Camille, to be honest. Like I felt with the writing that I was attracted to her, and I liked that Magnus was able to be with her, and I liked her role.
Mm-hmm. And I like that Camille, even though she's a vampire, she has very strong feelings. You kind of get this sense that vampires are very cold, but Camille, her entire storyline is based off of the fact that her love is killed, and her love is a werewolf. So little vampire.
Did you guys expect any of the twists? Like, honestly, did you really feel like it was leading up to it, or that you kind of guessed beforehand?
Her writing style is very similar from the other books. So she writes them in a very similar fashion. So a lot of the stuff I because I've read her other books, could kind of see coming.
So you weren't like, oh, this can't be as straight-laced as it is. Like,
no, I knew it was definitely... I kind of saw where it was going to go. I still wasn't sure, and I wanted to read it. Yes. I wanted her to explain it to me and break it down.
Well, the surprise to me was like, Nate, I just didn't expect it.
Yes, I didn't expect
There just wasn't
Nate.
enough to kind of make me...
I like that, though. I like when things are truly a surprise. And some people don't feel that way.
I was like, why
some
would
people
you do
don't.
That?
Some people feel that, like, when you write, you should give enough hints that the reader is in on it, but these characters aren't. I personally like it to be a big enough surprise that I didn't know as the reader, but that if I read it again, I could see it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is what Nate was. I feel like it was a big enough surprise.
Okay.
So you feel the opposite. You want to be let in on the secret.
I kind of do, and the reason is, like, what I noticed about the writing is that she doesn't always follow Tessa. There is the liberty of following any character she chooses, and it was apparent when she was kind of switching between scenes. And I'm like, well, she has the capability, so now I'm trying to get into the author's head and saying, like, why is she only revealing this to us? And it's good storytelling. I'm not mad at her. I'm frustrated in a good way. I'm frustrated because now I have to invest more time and energy into finding out exactly what happened, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's kind of what I appreciate it. And I can take it into my own style of writing myself at some point, because she did it really, really well. But essentially, if we have a character like Nate, who we don't see for the entire book, we want to save this person. He is the centerpiece of this whole thing, right?
Yes.
Nothing would have happened without this character.
Yeah.
And then he ends up pretty much being like the reason that this all happened at the
Right.
same time.
And
set it up.
such a
It's
weak,
genius, but it's also
villainous character.
Right.
I mean, I feel like out of all of the villains, he really is kind of the worst villain because
Right.
he's so weak.
yes.
Well, he was just like a pawn. They used him.
Yes.
But is he? Like
But
that's
he
the whole
chose
thing?
it.
Yeah. He
Well, I think he like in a way needed to be loved or something and needed like a purpose.
He needed power.
And he got it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I
Mhm.
agree. I agree with that. Overall, you know what? I'm going to give the book a thumbs up. I'm going to keep reading, and I'll be glad to do so. I loved the style of writing. I loved the characters. Like I said, I do. It's not something that I would pick up on my own necessarily, but I'm really glad that it was recommended, and I'll probably end up reading all 20 books at this rate at some
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
At some point, just to kind of get closure.
And I give it a thumbs up. It's a genre of book I love anyway.
Yeah.
I love stories that bring outsiders into magical worlds that they aren't familiar with. I just love that kind of story. And I'm really excited to continue reading the series. So thumbs up.
Yeah.
I give it 2 thumbs.
Oh, wow. She got it
If you like backstory, if you like detail, if you want to get invested in characters, this is definitely the series for you.
Yeah.
And you will not be disappointed.
Romance.
Romance,
The
but not too
drama.
much romance. Yeah, definitely.
I just hope there's more vampire parties.
That was his favorite part was the vampire.
That was my favorite part of the book.
Well, yeah.
I just imagine like Depeche Mode playing in the background.
Oh,
yeah. Very
Like
Buffy
real
the
gothy.
Vampire
Yes.
Slayer.
Exactly. You should have your own vampire party. I think.
I'm just gonna give it like a sideways thumb.
Oh.
I don't think it was.
Let's keep reading and we'll find out. Yeah.
But I don't think it's a terrible book. I'm definitely intrigued as I'm reading the second book, and I'm going to continue reading it.
Very cool.
I feel like it could, it has a lot of potential, and I think that as I read it more, I'll have more of a stronger opinion on it.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, it with everything that was happening and kind of how it just ended, I don't know. I just felt uneasy about it.
Yeah.
So I think as I progress through the series, I'll definitely have more to say about it.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, May, for being our first ever guest. So hopefully
And a resident expert.
I know,
Yes.
our resident expert. Hopefully she'll join us again for the other 2. We'll see.
I plan to.
Yeah, she's planning on it. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. You can either write a comment, write a question, anything. We'd be really open to hearing what you guys have to say. If you guys agreed with this or disagreed, please let us know. Thanks for tuning in. And the next time you see us, we're going to be moving on to book 2 in this trilogy. All right, thanks, guys.